to Momentum in Real Estate, your guide to success in the dynamic world of real estate. I'm Corey Wall.
And I'm Kristen James. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned pro, we're here to help you reach new heights.
Success in real estate comes from learning, growing, and serving others.
Join us as we dive into strategies for lead generation, marketing, market trends, and client relationships.
Get ready to ignite your momentum and achieve your goals in real estate.
Let's dive in and unlock your full potential.
This is Momentum in Real Estate.
Well, prepare to meet a real estate pro whose passion for finding the perfect home knows no bounds. With a decade and a half of experience under her belt, Julie Diggs is not just a realtor, she's a trusted guide through the twists and turns of the real estate market in the Triad and beyond. For her, it's not just about closing deals, it's about building meaningful relationships that stand the test of time. With a commitment to timely and consistent communication, she ensures that every client feels heard, understood, and valued throughout the entire process. Get ready to be inspired by her enthusiasm, expertise, and unwavering dedication to helping her clients achieve their real estate goals. Welcome to the show, Julie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
We're so excited to have you. So tell us a little bit about your real estate story. Like, how'd you get here and how many years and all of those things?
Okay, I originally got my real estate license in 2007, and basically it stemmed from a passion for just wanting to help people, helping individuals and families find their ideal home, while also being able to navigate the complexities of the real estate process, because it can be difficult. Every situation is different. So yeah, just basically it stemmed from a passion for wanting to help people. And I also thought, hey, this could be a great way I could support my family and have some flexibility in my schedule without being basically stuck in an office all day. So that was my motivation.
Tell us a bit, just a high level, kind of your brokerage experience. Like, have you been with the same brokerage the whole time in your career? Have you been doing real estate full-time, part-time? Just kind of give us a little bit more texture to your experience.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I started out in 2007 and I was part-time then. And I was in it from 2007 to 2010. So I actually took a little break after 2010 because I wasn't, very consistent. So I probably needed to hone my skills a little more. But when I decided to come back in full time in 2016, basically I came back in, I was working for a customized closet company. And a lady came in, she bought this $10,000 customized closet. And I was like thinking to myself, what in the world does she do that she can afford a $10,000 customized closet with beautiful hardware and all this other stuff that she chose out? She's like, oh, I'm in real estate, So I thought to myself, well, I had my real estate license several years ago. I'm like, it's time to reactivate because I want to, do what this lady is doing, right? So I decided to call the real estate commission. They told me what I needed to do to update my licensing. I came back in full time in 2016, and I basically hit it pretty hard. I was quite focused on it. So, yeah.
So were you with a small local firm? Were you with a big national brokerage? Like, what was your brokerage experience?
I was with a small firm in the beginning. I started off at Carrington Real Estate, and I also tried to help you sell for a little while. Eventually, I moved on, and I was with Allen Tate for the longest. I was there for about 4 years. Mm-hmm. And then I moved on to Keller Williams. And I've learned something with each company as I went along. And now I'm with EXP, and the technology and the opportunities that I've been afforded here have been great.
That's so good. So tell us a little bit about what your production has been like. I mean, you've been through 2008, which was a wild time, and you were doing it part-time, so it's a little bit different, but kind of share with us your experience and your production.
Really starting off as far as production, in the first few years, I probably only closed 4 to 6 deals per year in the beginning. So it was difficult. And that was the main reason why I basically left in 2010, was because I felt like I needed a little more consistency in income to stay in real estate. But like I said, once I took that break and I really came back in full time in 2016, just letting everyone know that I was back in real estate, it really worked because I came in and I was able to go from doing 4 to 6 deals a year. And in 2016, I probably did 10 to 12. So that was an increase. So that was great. And probably my best year so far, I've closed about 60 deals in 1 year. So that was my best. And that was like a couple of years ago. And I'm kind of averaging. Yeah, it was a busy year.
Was that as a single agent?
As a single agent.
Woo! Did you have a transaction coordinator? Or
I'm like, I want to get into the details.
That's impressive.
I was on a team for quite a while, and I learned a lot from being on that team. So it was a great experience. And just coming out from being on the team, learning different things. Yeah, that definitely allowed me to come and be on my own as an individual agent. I'm sorry, what was your last question?
So, did you have a transaction coordinator?
Oh, transaction coordinator. Yes.
Or an assistant?
I do have, yes, I definitely have an assistant. Yeah, because I would be, a little wacky if I probably didn't have someone that was helping me. But for a while I didn't, so I had to learn a lot of things by myself. But yeah, I do. I've had one for the last few years now.
Oh, good. Definitely. The same person too?
Huh?
The same person?
No, it's changed. It changed probably like 3 times. Yeah. So I'm on probably my 3rd assistant. A lot of times people, once they assist you, after they get some experience with it, they want to go into real estate. So, which is a good thing, which, I encourage that. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we might come back to that because I feel like there's so much that we could glean from your experience and having like a super productive, high volume business. But I'd love to dig into, you're a native to your area. So you obviously had relationships there. And I'm assuming that sort of facilitated your kind of jumping back into real estate. But I wonder what you could tell us and tell our audience about what steps do you take to really foster those long-term relationships to build trust, mutual respect, and hopefully repeat business.
Yeah, all those things are great. And what I have prided myself on, as far as is to be very responsive to people in a timely manner. Getting back to people is key, not allowing people to wait. Answering your telephone is big. So I've received so many deals just because like, hey, nobody else answered the phone today. So being responsive, actually caring enough to answer the phone and talk to people and just give them that one-on-one time to listen to what their specific needs are. So that has helped a lot. Just being available for people, being flexible and being available is key. And of course, knowing my market. So.
That's so good. Do you have a niche in your market? Do you like working with first-time home buyers? Do you like investors? Tell me your niche.
I have worked with all. I've worked with first-time home buyers, investors. I have veteran clients. I would say my niche would be more of first-time home buyers, and I do work with a lot of disabled veteran buyers. So it's just somehow moved into that. But, obviously, occasionally I do have investors that I work with also. But, yeah, first-time home buyers, disabled veterans, yeah. I've moved toward that way a lot.
Oh,
I'm curious, how did you get connected with that disabled veteran audience?
I actually have a company. They started off by just referring, they only work with veterans anyway. They only do VA loans. And so it was a mortgage company. They just tried me out several years ago. And we've been able to develop a great relationship. And I've carried a lot of the clients that they sent to me to the closing table. And so we've closed the deal and I've assisted them. So and so they just keep coming back to me. So that is one way, through referrals through that company, but also through my personal referrals. My father is a veteran. My stepfather is a veteran. So my brother is also. So I have several people in my family. I get referrals through that way also.
Oh, that's great.
That's really cool. Yeah.
That's really, really cool. So tell us a little bit about first-time home buyers. Like, how do you typically offer advice and what does that look like?
I usually advise them to take their time. It doesn't matter if we need to go out and look at 20, 30, 40 houses. It's finding the right house for them is very important. So just being patient with them and really explaining the process to them I find helps a lot with first time home buyers because they're nervous. This is one of the biggest purchases that they're going to make in their life. So definitely I find that being patient helps to really guide them through the process and very responsive to them, which sometimes means working past regular business hours, because they need a little bit more hand holding.
Well, I can tell by your demeanor that you're very calming, you're nurturing. So I can see why they would want to work with you, just to have a patient advisor to help them navigate that, what can be perceived as a really scary, nerve-wracking thing in their life. So that's awesome. Do you tend to work more with buyers or sellers? Do you have a preference?
I do not have a preference, but I probably work 65 to 70% with buyers and probably 30% with sellers. So that's pretty much how my business goes. Yeah. But I don't have a preference. I love working with both.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And where do you get your sellers? Like, where has that business come from principally? Is it through your personal network? Is it referrals? Like, what's the source of that
It's
business?
been through personal network. It's been through referrals. It's been off of the signs, the advertisement that I've had out there. It's been off of social media. People see me out on social media. And just sometimes when I'm out in the community or out at a restaurant or just speaking to people, just from meeting people, I've definitely gained clients that way too. So
let's dive into sellers a little bit. How do you assist your sellers in preparing their homes for listings? And what factors do you consider when determining the appropriate listing price?
basically, when I have a listing, I like to sit down with my sellers and just let them know that I've done my market research on what homes are selling for in their area. I like to give them a realistic expectation of how many days this home will be on the market and just the whole process. Normally, that's how the process goes, is just sitting down with them and going over the numbers, just being realistic with them, letting them know how I'm going to market their property. I will also do open houses. And so just kind of taking them through the process and being available to answer any questions that they have.
That's awesome. Again, that patient, just being a good listener is so, so key. Give us a little insight into the market in the Triad area. What are you seeing? Are homes flying off the market? Are they sitting a bit longer? Just give us a little insight into what you're seeing right now.
I'm seeing that it's still a seller's market, but we are seeing homes sit in the market a little bit longer. So definitely homes are sitting on the market longer. You're not seeing people out here before, a couple of years ago, people were $15,000, $20,000, even $30,000 for due diligence, being super competitive. There's still a lot of competition, but it's slowed down a lot now. So it's not as cutthroat as it was a couple of years ago. But again, I've also seen the market with the rates going up. That is also, you're not able to get as much home with your money. So I've seen that kind of slow it down some also. But there's still always people in the market buying and selling. So
That's good. Something that we know about you, especially in this crazy market, is that you're really good at negotiating. So can you give us some tips and tricks for our audience on things that you do that are really helpful?
usually when I'm negotiating, and are you talking about negotiating in the beginning or negotiating after we're under contract?
Really both. So you can maybe make it a two-part if you'd like.
Okay. Usually in the beginning for negotiating, I really try to call and speak with the listing agent to get as much information as I can on what the motivation is for the buyer to sell, if it's time, or if they're more focused towards due diligence, what is their motivation to sell and what's their timeline. So I try to get a feel for what their need is and go back and talk to my client about that need and see how best we can meet whatever the seller is needing. So that's normally how that goes. It really does depend on you having a conversation with the listing agent and getting as much information as you can about what the seller's motivation is.
So key. And I know we've seen that in our market too, Kristen and I, just having that relationship piece. Well, we're in a relationship business, period, end of sentence. But also, having that relationship with the listing agent is really key. I just talked to someone in our market that has won 2 deals the last couple times. She was not the highest offer, all in her presentation of the offer and having that relationship with the listing agent. So it's important to sellers these days. Like they either don't want investors or want a I know we're not allowed to say family is moving in, but there are ways to build that in that is appropriate. It's like is NAR listening? I don't know. Yeah, so that's really good. Okay, so moving into part 2 of this is negotiating while you're under contract and you've got like a roof problem or something like that.
Right. Well, yeah, and also negotiating while you're under contract can be tricky because a lot of times the seller feels like, hey, we're under contract, I don't have to do anything. So I think it's very important to write that due diligence repair request up and send it in, but it's also important to follow that request in writing with a phone call to the agent, really explaining hey, this is my buyer, and explaining like, please don't sell them a home with these type of, they have to walk in the door with these type of problems. So depending on if it's a roofing or a plumbing issue. And I think that most people, when they're selling their homes, they already have a budget of some repair that they would do if a person asks. But it really does require you to put a request in writing and to follow up, I think, with a phone call behind that request, not just shooting over an email and hoping they're going to read it and know your tone behind it and your urgency behind it, the importance of repairing those items. So, yeah, definitely having a follow-up conversation after sending that in is important.
Could you do a training for all agents about that? No, I mean, honestly, it feels like such a fundamental skill and practice or protocol, call it what you will, but so many agents don't do those basic things. And this sort of is a segue into the next question, but Corey and I are always talking about how do we differentiate ourselves, like in the marketplace. You throw a rock, you'll hit a real estate agent. Like it's just, there's so many of us, and it's true in every market. And so we try to drill into like, how do we set ourselves apart? How can we differentiate ourselves so that our customers and then hopefully clients can really see a qualitative difference? That the way I do business is different from the way Joe Schmo does business, and I'm going to work with her. So I love that you do what seems like really common sense things, but I feel like it really does go a long way to distinguish yourself as a professional. So I wonder if you can speak to, are there other aspects of your approach to real estate and to doing business that you feel like really differentiates yourself?
I really also like to have a no pressure approach. Sometimes I've started out with people, hey, we went out for a couple of weeks or a month or so, and then they've decided that they want to put their search on hold. They want to put it on, they're just like, they might feel overwhelmed. And I just like to give them the feeling it's no pressure. I'm here when you're ready. So I think that is also something that can set myself apart from other agents. I want them to feel totally comfortable. I don't want this to be, hey, my realtor's just trying to get a paycheck and we felt pressured into it. I want them to have a good experience overall. And if that means, hey, we shelf it for a couple months and they turn around and come back. And I've had people to do that, and they came back to me because it was no pressure. Yeah. So I think having a no pressure approach definitely helps.
What about in your marketing is different than maybe other real estate agents too?
As far as marketing, I think a lot of us agents have the same approaches when it comes to marketing. We do our social media, we do our signs, we do our open houses. So I think just the main thing is showing up and being sincere and being responsive. I think that is the main thing, is because a lot of times you have agents where you request things of them and they don't get back to you. So being dependable and being responsive, I think that is definitely key to setting yourself apart.
Mm-hmm. Well, you say that those things are normal real estate agents, not to tear other people down, but there are so many realtors that are part-time and not doing this full-time. and don't have social media accounts to help their clients or have genuine relationships. I think that's really key in this business, is making sure you're really connecting with people. So I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
This is sort of an off-script question, but I'm curious just how you would address it. If you were starting in real estate right now, like you didn't have your past experience, you didn't have the track record that you have, what are a couple of things that you would do, maybe differently or maybe the same if you were just now getting started in 2024, launching your real estate career? What are some things that you think you would do?
Definitely. I think doing open houses are big because it allows you a chance, obviously, to be out in the community. I think I would do even more open houses because you get to meet a lot of people at open houses. Some of them already have real estate agents, but it's a great opportunity for you to meet people in person and give them a tour of a property. So I think if I was first just starting out, I would try to get with other agents and do open houses on their properties. That's a great way to meet new clients. Also, when you're out at the grocery store, when you're out eating at restaurants, just striking up conversations with people when you're meeting new people, as far as and just handing out your business card. Simple things like that can really help you, if I was just coming in now. And I'm not ashamed, my family, they definitely put it out there for me. They have people come to me, so that I refer through them. So yeah, let your family know, let your friends know. Definitely, those are things that help if you're just starting. If I was just starting right now.
I love the relationship piece that you keep leaning into, because it is so true, and you have to be compassionate. Something that I'd really like to lean into is open houses. Kristen and I have really made this a pillar of our business that we really want to do more of, and something that we've been coached is like a mega open house, so like 100 signs. And something that I heard recently that I thought was a really cool tip was to keep a blocked amount of time after your open house, which I want to use this, and people that are not with a real estate agent, you say, I'm going to set up a tour for us for a very similar house, blah, 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 and just set it up. And I'm like, that's brilliant. So what ways do you use open houses that might set yourself apart? Because sometimes it's really about getting other listings in the neighborhood, not extra buyers, and presenting to the sellers that this is how I'm going to help market your property, and they feel good about it.
I really try to take time with people as they come in the door. Obviously, I don't probably, not offering them snacks, but people are food motivated. So, trying to have, you can get people to stay around a little longer sometimes if you have good snacks, good food. And just really trying to answer all of their questions. It really goes back to just taking time and really helping to be a people person and showing genuine care and concern for whatever questions that they may have about that property, and letting them know that you're a resource for things as far as like contractors, for repairs, that you can refer them to great services, that you are a good resource. I think that really can help to set you apart and really stimulate to have more business, because people are going to come to you because they're going to see you as a real estate resource.
That's awesome. Julie, I'd love to hear, as you think about, this year, 2024, I mean, obviously we're months in at this point, but what are some of the goals that you set for yourself this year? And what are your benchmarks? How do you know if you're on track? Like, just give us a little insight into kind of what this year looks like for you, just personally. What goals have you established for yourself?
This year, I have decided that I'm going to ramp up my marketing and also I'm going to increase doing more open houses. So just getting out and more things in the community. There's a nonprofit company that I'm connected to, so I like to do things out in the community with them. So I want to be more active with that. That is my goal. As far as I'm gonna ramp that up this year. So definitely, yeah.
That's really great. What's the why behind that? Is it to get more business? Is it just to feel more professional?
Well, obviously, I love to have more business, but it's also to educate people throughout this process because a lot of times when something goes wrong in the process, people blame their agent, you know? So I think part of it is to also just provide more education to people that, and to inspire people because sometimes people may not feel like they can own a home, but once they talk to you and they see that it's actually something that is obtainable and they have someone that is going to walk them through the process and is going to be patient with them, you know, that definitely can open them up to the process. And because it's a great thing to be able to own a home. It's awesome. Great way to build wealth. You know, your home builds equity. So yeah, it's great to be able to enlighten people to that whole process.
Well said.
That's awesome. Julie, I can see why you're a great agent and why people would want to work with you and do choose to work with you. And I'm excited because I feel like we have a new referral partner when in a different part of the state. And that's always really valuable to know a quality agent. And obviously we'd love to be your referral partners too.
Definitely.
But yeah, you're just, like the way you present yourself is so real and genuine. And I know that's a magnet for attracting business and clients. So way to go.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Before we go, I really want to dive into this one thing, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So we kind of glossed over it, but the fact that you did 60 deals as an individual real estate agent is just mind-blowing. And I just want to hear, obviously it sounds like you had a little support with a transaction coordinator and an assistant at that time. So tell us, like, just lay it out for us if you don't mind.
As far as how that went, okay, wow.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, Julie, did you set out to did you say, I want to have more than 50 deals this year? Or did it just happen to you? I think that's one of my questions at the front end.
I did not set out with the goal. I think I actually was probably like 59. It was close to 60. I did not set out with the goal. You know, I more than exceeded my goal that year because I probably was around 35, you know, like thankful to have 35 to 40 transactions. So to end up with 60 was really big. And no, it was not my goal. It just happened to be a time where it just seemed several people were coming to me back to back and I was taking them on, which it was some long days, but it was worth it. Yeah. So it was not my goal, but I'm thankful. I was very thankful.
Yeah.
So long days obviously was part of it, right? Yes. So did you end up like having to sacrifice some family time? Was it really, yeah.
Yeah, you do, because I mean, you have to have a plan for the next day and the next day and the next day. You have to have your schedule set up and you have to really stick to it because you're trying to make time for all of your clients, which can take away from your family time when you're doing close to 60 deals within a year. And, you know, a few of those times I closed like 8 to 10 deals in a month. Yeah, those were crazy months and it's a little stressful, but you know, it happened. Like I said, it wasn't my goal, but it did happen, and I'm thankful for the experience. You know, now I feel like if it came back across that I did 60 deals in the next year, that I could handle it probably better from going through it at least one time now. But yeah, it definitely called for some long days and being available past regular business hours. I know there are some people that know how to cut it off at 6 p.m. or 6:30. I don't know how to do that. But yeah, because I've been up at 9 or 10 o'clock at night before writing offers, you know, and was able to secure the deal for my client. But it really does require you, I think, putting in some extra hours and not being flexible.
Is there something that you would tell yourself back then that would have helped you not feel like you had to work through the night kind of thing? Or
I don't know what I could have told myself. You know, it was like there was definitely some self-motivation, keep going. And then there were goals, you know, hey, there were some definite personal goals that I know I could reach. So there's a lot of self-motivation going on during that time. Being your own cheerleader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like maybe something for our listeners, at least, that may be helpful in that situation is finding maybe a transaction coordinator that will write offers for you late at night and help you present them. And then, like you said, an assistant maybe that is licensed that can also help and as motivated for you too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because my
How
assistant
did
now,
that-
she's licensed.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes,
Mhm.
it's so helpful. Oh, that's great.
I was going to ask, so you have this experience of almost 60 transactions in a year, which exceeded where you had ever been production wise. Have you sort of assessed, like, what's your sweet spot? Like, where do you feel the intersection of good business? So you're productive, you're feeding your family, you're taking care of your needs, but you have a bit of maybe some, financial freedom, time freedom, what have you. Is there a sweet spot that you've identified in terms of the number of transactions in a year?
For myself personally, I really feel good, I guess, if I'm anywhere in that 30 to 35 transactions a year. Yeah, that really works well for me. And I feel like I can have a pretty good life work balance. I mean, obviously, if I do more than that, that's great. But yeah, that's a sweet spot for me, I guess. That if I can definitely stay in that 30 to 35. And obviously, the longer you're in real estate, the more you can outsource some of your tasks. And you depend on your assistant and you depend on other agents sometimes. In the beginning, I didn't hardly have any help. Like when I just tried to do all my showings myself. Now, sometimes you learn as you go along. Hey, I'll pay somebody to do a few showings for me when I'm on vacation, or maybe I'm just busy this week or a little overwhelmed. Is outsourcing some tasks, which still allows you to have your business and stay connected to people by assisting them, but you're not having to do quite as much. So just learning, skills like that.
So good. Julie, thank you so much for your time. I know it's precious and we just really appreciate you. We are going to share in the description all of your handles and ways to follow Miss Julie. And I can't wait to go follow you too and watch your journey and your marketing experience and hitting your goals. Just thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Momentum in Real Estate. We hope you found valuable insights and strategies to propel your real estate journey forward.
If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. Your feedback helps us continue to deliver content that resonates with you. Remember, success in real estate is about continuous learning, growth, and serving others. Keep that momentum going and watch your business thrive.
Until next time, keep pushing forward and bringing your real estate dreams to life.
This is Corey Wall
And Kristen James signing off from Momentum in Real Estate.